Shark! I had the most terrible nightmare. I thought we were watching Jaws. Oh, shit. We were watching Jaws.
This is Bandwagon Fans. I'm Jeff.
Jason.
And this is our show Crap on Classics, where we take the movies that we love and just like a good friend, give it a little ribbing. Tonight we are going to be going over Steven Spielberg's 1975 Jaws. Jason?
Yeah, you know what, Jaws, how about it? It was a big blockbuster. Everybody knows the movie, and I don't know why it was so successful, quite honestly.
It was the OG of blockbusters.
Oh, yeah, this was the one that kicked it off. This was what started Spielberg, summer blockbusters.
So 1975, this would have been the height of the cocaine craze. I think people just needed a nap. Which you can get, because there's a good 40-minute snooze fest in the middle of this freaking movie.
I mean, it takes forever to just convince these people that they need to kill something that just seems to be so obvious.
Yeah. So, Jaws, 1975, Steven Spielberg. It is the first major blockbuster, really launched the summer blockbuster craze, starring Roy Scheider, no N.
Scheider.
Roy Scheider, Richard Dreyfuss, and Robert Shaw.
As the salty swabby of the sea.
And the soul of the movie, Lee Fierro as Mrs. Kintner. And I'll be getting back to her in a minute here.
All right, then. So we kick off with kind of the scenario every slasher film ripped off from then on. Campfire, kumbaya, everybody's enjoying themselves. They got the marshmallows, all right? They're loving life. You get the couple that walks away from the camp, does their own thing, decides they want to do a little skinny dipping. The girl goes into the water. The guy kind of is too drunk to follow her. And then the horror happens. We get the Jaws attack, the first shark attack. She gets ripped to shreds. Fast forward to the next morning, she's found.
Well, I haven't seen a woman move like that in water since Elizabeth Berkley in Showgirls.
Oh boy, yeah, what was the calisthenics? She was doing some kind of putting on the Ritz out there, wasn't she?
Oh, but before the shark attack, yeah, she had a little synchronized swimming, foot straight up in the air as she goes down in the water. And then when the shark attack actually happened, she looked like an epileptic eel.
And her boyfriend still passed out. It was the endless summer, what can I tell you?
So, no, I get it. In the 70s, they didn't have a lot of great movies to watch. It was
everything was pretty gritty, right?
Get what you can, but so how does it hold up?
Not too well. I mean, let's face it, after the excitement of Sharknado, this doesn't even compare, does it?
Yeah.
One shark? What were they thinking? Come on, guys.
Two sharks. But the second one is dead before we even get to see it.
Yeah, well, that poor guy could have just been an innocent.
I'm pretty sure he was innocent. I think they established that.
I mean, all he was guilty of was a license plate.
Okay, so actually the first shark we actually see is a little tiger shark, and they end up cutting its belly open to pull out to see what it ate. And do you remember the Jaws board game?
Yeah, where you try to hook whatever was in his mouth before his jaws clamped down on you, I believe.
Now, maybe I'm imagining something else, but wasn't there a part where you could pull stuff out of its stomach? Didn't it have like a
that was the whole obstacle of the game. You went and you fished down in him to pull out stuff, and I think what would happen was either you successfully fished something out, or his jaw would close on you, and you'd lose whatever you fished. If memory serves right.
It's been I remember the game. I just remember anyways.
I remember using the shark as just a regular toy. I don't really remember playing the game so much.
Yeah, we never did play the game, but I could have sworn its belly opened up, but I might be thinking of the tauntaun.
Yeah, I remember the mouth, but anyway, with that being said,
we digress.
The fashions in this movie, how about that, boy? Talk about some lady killers.
Yeah.
I mean, that sport jacket with the anchors all over it, where can I find that? That's what I want to know.
That was on the mayor of the city.
Oh yeah, and he wore it more than once. So I wonder if the actor himself had a shine in that jacket.
I don't know how.
Or if it was just like one of those jokes with the anchor jacket on.
I think this movie took place in just over a couple of days, but he had like 7 different wardrobe changes.
Took place in Amity before they added the Ville to it, I suppose. Yeah. You know, first there was Sharks and Haunted Houses. What can you do? Anything named with Amity in the title, it's not good, I guess.
I don't know. You mentioned the slasher. It did have the feel of a slasher film.
Yeah, I mean, especially
that beginning was good.
Yeah.
The movie started off really well, and then it just detoured into.
It just kept getting. I don't know. Just no one wanted to do anything, and it was just kind of like
first act good
rhetoric.
First act good. Third act pretty good. Second act. I think for a lot of people, it's why people like Jaws so much, is the 3 dudes on the boat. That's where it lost it for me. I mean,
here's the thing too. I mean, you have these people that don't know anything anyway, all right, about what's going on. So if you're chief of police and a shark expert eventually come in, and they say, hey, don't go out there, there's sharks. But your dingo mayor that just wants to make profit off of the 4th of July says, no, go in there, it's no problem. Wouldn't you just naturally just be afraid because the experts are telling you not to go in? Or are you still just going to go? I mean, the scene started with them not wanting to go in the water because of all that. But then, you know, after a couple people start doing it, let's just follow them in, you know.
So that's the scene where the mayor refuses to close the beach.
Right.
Everybody knows people are dying in the water.
Yeah.
So he goes to one of his rich tycoon buddies and be like, hey, why aren't you going in the water? I've been like, mofo, you're wearing a gay suit.
Yeah, you go in the water, man. That's the thing. The mayor never offered to go in the water himself. Don't get a clue, people.
Yeah. This movie is, well, on the boat with the 3 dudes talking. There's some serious class warfare going on because you have Quint. He's the everyman working class hero, butting heads with Mr. Hooper, the intellectual college city boy.
Right, and then you have Roy Scheider's character, who is kind of seen a lot already. He's a cop that
he's the government. Well, he represents the government.
And he comes from New York, so he's already has kind of that attitude that he doesn't trust things and he's skeptical.
So he represents the working class because he's a cop, but he also represents the elite. And the movie really is a fight over who he's going to go with. Is he going to side with Quint and do things Quint's way, or is he going to follow Hooper and do things Mr. Hooper's way?
Well, after the CB scene, I think we all knew where he was siding after that.
And that's where so if Quint is the working class person, why do they have to make him freaking psychotic? Out of nowhere, he just starts smashing the CB, their only means of communicating with the rest of the world, because he's bound and determined to do things himself.
Maybe he had some post-traumatic stress from that Hiroshima story, huh?
Yeah, because everybody in the working class is mentally deranged and has mental health issues. It didn't do us any favor.
You know, I think what made Robert Shaw's character crazy was that submarine incident that he talks about. You know, pretty much the most memorable scene of the movie that's not shark related, right? Everybody talks about the speech Robert Shaw gives after they compare the scars.
So we obviously just watched this movie. I just watched it for the first time a few months ago. I didn't remember that scene until you told me.
Really? It's
and I just saw this.
The scene that everybody talks about. Oh, Robert Shaw's speech. You got to see the movie just for that, if anything. Now let's kind of go back a little bit and let's talk about the previous shark attacks. In the beginning, we have the girl. Come on. They try to pass it on like it was a boating accident. She's got bite marks. These people are ignorant.
A boating accident where only her hand survived.
Exactly. So then fast forward and we have the second attack, the little boy. You want to talk about that with his mom?
So, Mrs. Kintner, she is the real star of the movie. Lee Fierro, who was 45 years old at the time this movie came out, and playing somebody with an 8-year-old son.
And what a look!
And that's the real tragedy is that the mayor's ignorance cost this middle-aged woman her only child.
And did she even have a husband? Was the husband at the funeral?
She was single, maybe a widower.
Yeah.
Now she lost her only child. No chance at having kids again, and lost everything.
Yeah, well, that's the way it is, right? I mean, it's really sad, but and then after that, they still don't they still don't learn their lesson.
No,
that's the thing. All right,
no.
And then
the shark comes back,
right,
and
then Roy Scheider, his son,
Chief Brody's son. So we see him in the water and he's perfectly fine.
Right.
And the next thing we know, he's being pulled out onto the beach unconscious, and they say he's in shock and has to go to the hospital. and
so we get to the hospital, see where he's wheeled in, and this is the most perplexing thing of the whole movie to me, and it's always
keep in mind, this has been bothering this guy for years.
All right, all I know is that personally, okay, when I was a kid, coffee flavored ice cream was not liked. You didn't ever want that flavor if you were a child.
The mom asked Michael what he wants, and she's like, do you want ice cream? And he says coffee. And you're right. As a kid, what kid eats coffee flavored ice cream?
That flavor is so
adult,
unwanted, and you don't even see it around anymore. The last time I saw coffee flavored ice cream, I think I was getting a triple scoop of Thrifty.
Mocha.
Well, yeah, but
the mochaccino shake.
They call it mocha and the mochaccino and all that. But back in the day, literally dark brown coffee flavor.
Right.
I haven't seen it in years.
My mom used to get that once in a while when she wanted the ice cream to herself and didn't want me eating any. She would get coffee flavored ice cream, and I hated it. I'm with you.
Yeah, and then on the other end, the other rare flavor was my favorite flavor as a child, bubble gum. You can't find that either anywhere.
That's still Baskin Robbins.
Oh, Baskin Robbins.
I think Baskin Robbins has gone through a lot.
Well, all I know is you can't find it in the frozen section anymore.
You mentioned the coffee flavored ice cream earlier.
Yeah.
There are things when I was a kid. Caramel was the thing you gave kids to let them know that you hated kids. Now, anything salted caramel flavored, I am eating, and I'll go through a pint of the Ben & Jerry's salted caramel core ice cream in like 10 minutes.
Right. It's like Ferrero Rocher. You don't give those to children.
Vanilla was the absolute worst ice cream in the world. Now, anything French vanilla, I'm eating. I love it.
Yeah,
it's just funny how tastes change over the years.
Well, you know what? Maybe when we were growing up, we just got so much chocolate that all these other flavors just.
Swenson's sticky chewy chocolate ice cream.
Oh, okay. I remember Swenson's.
Hostess's Chocolicious.
Chocolicious.
So I personally kept Chocolicious afloat as a brand for about 2 years. It was basically a chocolate Twinkie with chocolate filling and chocolate frosting and chocolate sprinkles.
Boy, how many teeth do you have left now? God.
Dead man. Dude, that's too real, man.
Oh.
Anyways, on that note, speaking of lost teeth,
dude, Jaws. I'm gonna nickname you Jaws.
I haven't lost any teeth. I haven't lost any teeth on a boat, and if I ever lose a teeth eating people, on that note,
we're gonna end it there.
Thanks for watching. This was Bandwagon Fans Crap on Classics, Jaws. I'm Jeff.
Jason here.
Get on the bandwagon.
Happy trails.